All right. A lot of people have been asking about scalping, and a lot of people have been asking about entries and exits. I will make this the very first and last video and give you a full analysis. Now, I made plenty of videos talking about scalping back then, and those of you that are new to the service, you can click on the video webinars. And here, let me show you guys those that are brand new so that we don't get confused here. I have 46 videos on the Telegram Signals channel, 46 videos. And so those of you that don't know how to get in here, let me share you guys here. So I'm on Telegram. And when you click on, I'm on the computer application, but when you click on the phone or you click on the computer, which I recommend to click on the computer, you click on the videos, and these are all videos based back in March of 2018 and up until July. So there's a lot of information that I already gave out already. And I just be honest, I feel like I'm just repeating myself. So those that have been with me for almost a year now, I mean, you should already have a gist of what scalping is and what swinging is. So it doesn't matter, like I said, it doesn't matter how much information I give you. The question is, the number one thing is, are you actually applying what you learn, and what exactly are you really learning from scalping or swinging? And that way that you can master the skill sets for yourself. Doesn't matter how much I give you. The question is, are you actually learning it for yourself so that you can feed yourself? Doesn't matter how much I feed you, because then you're just coming back for more. I really hope that what I say, makes sense, because it doesn't matter how much information someone gives you. I'm just being honest. It doesn't matter. Eventually, you're going to find your own style of trading. You're going to find your niche of trading. And then you put it all together and you find that balance of trading. And then you can then you find the discipline within yourself and the mindset behind that. Most important thing is having that mindset and key focus. Not just for New York sessions, Tokyo, or London. It's for every single session that you want to trade. And so like I said, there's 46 webinar videos that you can hop on here, download, keep it for yourself. And like I said, I recommend everyone to have a laptop and a special hard drive, whatever, and keep all this stuff, because you paid for the service, might as well take all the information that you can. So very important to take all these videos. But let's go ahead and hop on some charts here so that you guys get to see how I would analyze the charts and how I would scalp the charts. So let's run through here. Oh, come on. Yep. So we're on USD/JPY here. You can see this is how I was scalping back then. You can see that was overbought here. A lot of resistance here, fell back, right? You can see that the MA crossed here, pushing back down. And now it's bouncing off of 40. It's very critical not to just go off of 70 and 30. If you rely a lot on 70 and 30, then you're gonna get yourself caught. So I'm gonna show you guys the stochastic, which I like it a lot faster. Notice that the stochastic is trying to push back up because it's oversold, versus the RSI bouncing off of 40. So I like using the stochastic because it's much faster and more responsive. Now, when they're both overbought, that was the best time to sell. I like using 80 and 20 with stochastic because you get a more precise reading and it gives you a better confirmation to buy and sell based on the 1 minute chart. Now this is on the 1 minute chart here. You have to be very careful because when you're scalping, right, you should be only trying to scalp 3 to 5 pips at the most. You shouldn't be trying to go more than 5 pips. If you go more than 5 pips, you're gonna get yourself caught. What I mean by that is that you're not gonna know when to take profit and you're not gonna know when you want to enter a new trade. So if you don't know, then you're gonna start second guessing when you're getting in and getting out. The main goal for scalping is short-term trading, and you might get lucky and get 10 to 15 pips if there is something major happening, like all of a sudden Trump decided to speak, right? And all of a sudden USD/JPY does a major drop, major spike going down. Then yes, I could see that. But you have to look at, okay, I'm just trying to capture 3 to 5 pips, and in order for you to make that profit, you have to use higher lot size. So if we know that we're going to capture 3 to 5 pips, right? 3 to 5 pips, then we're just going to try, and then we're going to do like a 0.25. I recommend going 0.3 and higher, a 3 minute lot or higher, 0.30 or higher. Reason being is because most commissions and spreads, anything under than a 0.3, you're barely making it by. That's why most people that scalp, they use standards. They use standard lots because that way you can catch the amount of money that you want to make. If you're only getting 3 to 5 pips and you only do a 0.10 and you versus doing a standard, it's a huge difference because you already lost out on the spreads and commissions that you paid out on that broker. So scalping is not meant using micro lots. If you use micro lots, you're going to lose more money. You have to use, like I said, to me, I would use a 0.3 or higher. Can't go wrong using a 0.3 or higher. 0.25 is okay. 0.25 like kind of in the middle. You want to use at least, like I said, 0.3. If not, you feel comfortable, go 0.5, 0.75, or even close to one standard, 0.90, 0.95. So you get to see how much money you're actually making. I recommend starting out on the demo account if you're not ready to go into live trading for scalping. And so now here, what I see here is that candles are bouncing off the 21-day, right? The 21-day SMA, and starting to peak back down. But overall, like I said, overall, it's on a 1 minute chart. So obviously it gets kind of confusing. When I see a trend, that's the main thing that I look for. Okay, we can see that the uptrend started at 110.7 from last night, right here. Peaked all the way back up, right? And it almost hit, I think it touched the 111.5. The moment you see an uptrend, I recommend going straight to the 15-minute chart. On the 15-minute chart, from the very bottom of the price that bottom out here at 110.8, and it hit here almost at 11.5, right? So you're talking about a 50 pip. Then on the you're talking about 70 pip gain. So you're talking about a 70 pip gain for USD/JPY here, right? So, and you can see that the crossover happened here at 110.9. And notice that these candles are this bounced off the 21, this bounced off the 21, and pretty much this just bounced off in between the 21 and 9 SMA. If you don't look at the 15-minute chart, then all you're doing is just bouncing off the 1 minute chart. I don't like scalping off the 1 minute chart for 3-4 hours. I used to do that back then, but I don't do it anymore because each session gives you a direction and a trend to follow, no matter what the session is. I mean, there might be a session like Tokyo or maybe sometimes London, but most of the time Tokyo where it just consolidates for that session, right? Maybe because there's a holiday or maybe because there's not enough market volatility and it just ends up consolidating. I would not recommend scalping when it's consolidating. When it consolidates, there's no point trying to scalp. And you're better off just waiting it out. So by far, I would say this month was the best month to scalp because there wasn't really a direction to go off of this month. So, but like I said, we're on a 15-minute chart for USD JPY here, and that you want to look for a trend to fall within the session. And so here RSI overbought, right? Stochastic coming back to overbought, right? If you use the stochastic and RSI, and if you're not following the main chart here, this is your main chart here. If you're following your bottom charts, you're gonna get caught up on looking at what's oversold and overbought. You can't look at what's oversold and overbought all the time. Yes, they give you a good indication that it was overbought and oversold, right? I mean, yes, it is overbought, right? Overbought here, shot down, and then RSI is just ranging at 60. And you can clearly see that these candlestick structure is creating an uptrend. So when you see the uptrend, right, and you see the crossover, that's more important than following what's the overbought conditions from the RSI and the stochastic. I don't care if it's overbought. USD JPY was overbought at 112 and shot all the way back to 113. And it was already overbought at 112. So it doesn't matter. This is the most volatile US dollar based pair that I've seen and traded. It's more volatile than USD Swiss franc and USD CAD. So you have to understand that what this pair is the second lowest spreads, right, compared to Euro, because Euro is the lowest spread pair. And USD JPY is an all-around universal pair because it's traded against the yen and with the dollar. So the dollar is on New York sessions and the Japanese yen revolves around Asian sessions. Best of both worlds, right? So it's a revolving 24/7 currency pretty much. Sometimes Euro doesn't really do anything during Tokyo. So that's why you're better off trading JPY pairs, Australia and New Zealand pairs. So you have to know what pairs are more effective and much more that move faster in their session. So I'm hopping through a lot of things and I'm talking about a lot of things for you guys because I want to make this a really precise, precision video, really key tactical video on that way you guys can see what is it exactly that, you know, how can you analyze it for yourself based on my analysis. I look at the markets a totally different way. I'm more 70-80% more fundamental in economics versus the technical side. So you guys can clearly see I don't talk about Fibonacci. I don't talk about these patterns, or I don't talk about. I don't talk about, you know, I talk about the most basic indicators. That's the most important thing. You don't really need a whole lot to understand the basics. The most important thing is to advance yourself in trading so that you can experience the market reactions from New York to Tokyo to London and back to New York, back to Tokyo and London on a daily basis, that you know there's a pattern each day, there's a pattern in each session, and there's a trend change, and you have to be prepared for the trend to change. Once you identify this trend, right? Once you identify the trend, then you have to look at, okay, how much more further can they really shoot up the price? Based on the 1 hour, you don't have to look at the 1 hour, but based on the 1 hour, the crossover is here. but it's losing its price at where it peaked at 11.5. Okay. On the 4-hour, it could very well create resistance here, and guess what it can do? Drop back down. That's one way of looking at it, or it could shoot back up. Okay. On the daily, what I stated before is if this candle actually does close above the 21, then the next daily candle will be a bull candle going back to 113. Because that was where it fell off anyways, to retest. Okay. Let me see here. So let's go back to the 1-minute chart. Go back to 1-minute chart here. Okay. Where you're at a standstill. At this time, I wouldn't be scalping. The best time to scalp for any pair is the first 2 hours of the session. Why I say that? When the new session opens, guess what happens to the pairs? They do a retracement. After they're 30 minutes, like 30 minutes within the session, right? 30 minutes later, like New York. So at 8 a.m. Eastern time, right? You get to see the retracements, right? Because New York just opened. And then at 8:30 in the morning, guess what happens? They release high impact news, which is, I don't know. I'm gonna go back. What high impact news they had going on here? Well, I ain't really care about existing home sales. Chicago Fed was positive. Chicago Fed National Activity Index is a lot more, has a lot more impact than the existing home sales. Even though existing home sales was bad, right? So very important to see where this is going. Now, let me pause this real quick. All right, let's get back into this. Scalping. I'm on gold here. I don't scalp gold, but if you really want to scalp gold, I would recommend going out to 1 hour. So you can see that found support, come back. Yes, there's the crossover here, but you can see it was oversold on stochastic, bouncing back up. You can see that the RSI is bouncing off 40 here, going back up. Best time to take profit was at, what was it, 12:22.79 here. So let's run through. Let's see what else. I mean, yeah, like I said, I want to sell gold due to the fact that, you know, gold needs to breach higher than 1234. And on the daily, if we see, I mean, like I said, once this daily candle closes below these two moving averages again, I'm just selling all the way back down. And that's what I see. This is based on long term. This is based on the daily chart that I'm giving you guys. Well, let's go back to UJ here. Coming back down, we know that the initial resistance was at 11.5. Okay, coming down here at 11.3. It's been doing a lot of ranging because it was just sitting here for a while, came up, sat here for a while, and then came right back up, and then we shot down below 11.3, and then came right back up to almost 111.5. And it's probably just going to sit here until Tokyo comes out tonight. Now, there are some major announcements coming out for Bank of Japan, so we'll see what they do for that. Like I said, the initial one I want them to break is this, the 11.6, and then come back to 11.8 and 112. Once it closes above 112, then that's it. We will see a sustained move to test where it fell at 112.4 here. Now I'm going to go back to the 1 minute chart. So most important thing is that it's going to be a very tricky pair to trade because shot up, going back down, right? We know that the lowest price is here. Well, no, that's not the lowest price, but the lowest price was 110.7. Right back here. No, not even back there. All right, so we know that the lowest price is back here, right? 110.7. And see it hit oversold on stochastic, shot up. You don't want to be drawing a trend line or drawing some kind of angle for UJ, especially for bottom indicators. That doesn't make any sense. Does not make any sense. So that's why I say it's very important to catch a trend. Oversold, right? Oversold. Overbought. This never came to 70. You can see the with initial resistance here, it fell down. So how many pips would you have got here based on support and resistance? 2.8. It's 2 pips. 4, 6, 8. Okay, so 8 pips. You would have got 8 pips from buying at 11.28 and to 11.36 if you were following stochastic. On the phone, when you follow on the phone, right? When you follow on the phone, sometimes you have to remember that the MetaTrader 4 app on the phone is totally different from the MetaTrader 4, from the TradingView. TradingView has their own timing and their own candlestick structure, and we're using FXCM's server. So you just have to remember that it's not Tradersway server, it's not JAFX server, it's not FX Choice server. You're using FXCM on TradingView. So don't get caught up on looking at 2 different charts on your phone, like the actual Forex broker that you're using versus the FXCM on TradingView. So to be more precise, you have to use the broker that you're using, right? The brokerage chart, because they're the ones that you're paying the spreads on, and guess what? You're paying the commission. So you don't get to see a buy and sell position here. So it's very important. Well, with that, hang on, I'll be back. All right, let's get back here. It's gonna be a long video. I'm gonna make it a long video because I don't wanna repeat what scalping is. So let's get back on here. So USDJ price bouncing back up again, right? Let's not look at stochastic and RSI. Found plenty of support here. And if this is the next support candle, then I expect it to come back to retest the 460 or the 480. Okay. Once you get good at scalping, then you don't really need to waste your time looking at the bottom indicators. Because if you have your 2 moving averages, that's what you can really bounce off of. So overall, it is downtrending on the 1 minute. Okay. And if it's downtrending that much on the 1 minute, let's go to the 15 minute. Now this 15 minute, this candle is bouncing off the 9-day. So what's more precise, right? The 15 minute or the 1 minute? Obviously your 15-minute chart is more precise because it's a bigger time frame. Remember that the bigger the time frame, it holds stronger candlestick structure on support and resistance. So let's look on weekly here. On the weekly, you can clearly see how strong this wick is bouncing off the 9-day. Gets tricky, right? Because a lot of people are saying, well, it's got to be a reversal because it's dropping back down. The only way I would reverse my trades, seriously, is if this weekly candle ended up closing below the 9-day and probably coming back down here. And so I'm talking about long term. Now, UCJPY hasn't really done a whole lot for trend. Okay? But you can clearly see that it's bouncing back off the 9-day here. On the monthly, this is still a bull candle. So it gets tough on the monthly because then we don't know exactly where this candle is going to close. If it closes in between, then it could either go back up or back down. These monthly candles here is not really a clear direction, but overall it's been downtrending. All right, let's get back in here. So if this is the sell, right? If this is the sell, let's go to the 1 hour. Then basically the uptrend is done. I don't care about the crossover anymore because eventually it will cross going back down. Because there was 2 price targets that I was looking for based on the daily, not on the 4 hour or like I said, this daily candle hasn't closed yet. But if it does close below here, then we are looking for a strong sell back down. I don't care if this hasn't crossed over yet. Okay? It's going to take forever for the weekly candle to make that adjustment. So on the 15-minute chart, it's coming back down, right? I'm going to go to the 1 hour so I can show you guys. If it doesn't come back down to break the 110.9 structure and close below the 110.9, it needs to close below. Doesn't, and then it just builds support here again. To me, that's a double bottom, and it's going to come right back up. So you can't go wrong selling UCJPY right now. So if you're on the 1 minute, right, you can see how much they're dropping it back down. Okay, dropping it back down. And I want to show you guys the 4 hour because, like I said, if this is the initial resistance, then we sell it all the way back. All right, let's get back to here. All right, so notice that UCJPY, like I said, the 15-minute chart is most important chart, right? You can clearly see that these this candle bounced off 111.4, and that, man, people cannot stop talking. Hang on one